Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Jurassic World Primal Attack Soundstrike Cryolophosaurus. Now, this is a figure I wasn't going to get at first. I saw it in a Walmart a while back, and I was not bothered. I wasn't really the biggest fan of this thing. It looked, well, it didn't look bad or anything like that, but it just felt cheap to me, so I didn't pick it up. Lately, I've been trying to look for the Extreme Roaring Tyrannosaurus. Yeah, I've been trying to look for that figure. Haven't seen it. I went to Target, or my local Target, 3 separate times, and again, I just, couldn't find it. However, they had this figure, and I'm looking at it because it looks good in my opinion, and the painting, not bad, but the overall sculpt and all that, it looked good. So I was looking at it, and then I decided, you know what? Fine. I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance. And of course I come home, I take it out of the box, and I mess with it for a little bit. I'm not disappointed, but to be fair, I'm not really thrilled by this thing either. I'll talk about that towards the end, so yeah. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's just get into this. So first we'll take a look at the paint, and the painting on this figure, it's fine. As far as Mattel figures go, at least for their Jurassic World line, it's fine, it's basic. So let's take a look. So the back here is a very dark shade of brown, almost like a blackish color, which does look nice. However, the back of the neck here is more of a brownish color, and then the face is just a very dark shade of gray. And they did that thing where they just painted the eye and just didn't paint the pupil because this was already just a different color. But anyway, this orange bit up top here is painted, well, orange. But I think it's a little lazy because it's only this part here, and the crest here and all, everything on the nose or snout or whatever, that's supposed to be orange, but they didn't really paint the backside of it. It's kind of a nitpick, I know, but again, just pointing that out. Something to point out. The bottom jaw is painted white, and the tongue is painted a pinkish color. And of course the teeth here are a bonish white, so like a yellowish, whitish color. So, yeah. Most of the body is a yellowish color, which does look nice. The toenails are painted a blackish grayish color. Not painted on the underside, but that's whatever. Also, there's the scan code there if you want. Here's the Jurassic World logo, the new one for the new figures. And again, the fingernails are not painted. I'm not surprised, but I'm just saying, painted fingernails definitely make the figure look more complete, but that's just me. So, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the painting on this figure. The painting on this figure is not bad. As far as Mattel figures go, it's not terrible. It's fine. So, honestly, I'd say the painting on this figure, I'd say it gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the articulation. And the articulation is, it's not bad, except it kind of is. We'll talk about that. So, the mouth here can close and open. I'm trying not to trigger this. This thing is very noise sensitive, and I'm not a big fan of that, but the mouth can close and open. The arms can move 360. Very noise sensitive, and can move outwards like so. Same with the feet, they can move outwards like that. They can move backwards that much, and forwards this much. And now for the main gimmick of this figure, and what you're hearing, the Soundstrike, which basically, I love the idea, but I think it's executed just a little poorly. So if you move the tail around, the head moves, and it makes sounds. So here's one sound. We already heard that, but there is one more. That's it. So, yeah, this is where most of my issues come in for this figure. First of all, let's just address the elephant in the room. Those are Indominus Rex sounds, so I think that's kind of lazy. I would have preferred if they just took, like, just a generic, like, stock sound effect for, like, stock dinosaur roar sound, I feel like that'd be a lot better than just taking an Indominus and just giving it to this figure. Because there's one, like, stock sound effect that, like, a lot of people use for, like, dinosaurs. I hate that sound so much, but I would have preferred that over the Indominus Rex here. Because, like, as much as I dislike the Indominus Rex, I do like how it sounds, but if I wanted an Indominus Rex figure that made sounds, I'd get a figure of the Indominus Rex, not a Cryolophosaurus. Just make something up. Like, take from, like, give it, like, lion roars or something like that. Or, like, literally anything. Don't just give it, like, Indominus Rex sounds. This is kind of like where they took a Triceratops figure and gave it T-Rex sounds. Or even the T-Rex, they gave it, like, Indominus Rex sounds, which, as well. But yeah, I just think it's just a little lazy. I just think it's weird, so yeah. But that's not my only issue. My other issue, it just feels very cheap, like, I am barely moving this, like, no effort at all, and this is just, just very loose, very cheap, and even when you move it, like, you can hear, like, a lot of, like, ticking and, like, clicking and all that. And this gimmick just feels very cheap. There's just nothing, like, satisfying about this. I feel like if it was tighter and was just, it didn't feel as... Because I feel like I could, like, break this no problem. I feel like a kid could break this no problem. I feel like just, like, moving the tail and head upwards like that, like, I'm putting no effort into this whatsoever. I mean, of course, there's a little effort, but, like, still, this is just very weak. And, yeah, I do like the idea, because I can imagine, like, there are kids online who make, like, their own little, like, fan movies. So I guess they could have, like, sort of like an animatronic where, like, if, like, someone makes a noise, the dinosaur could just, like, look over, and I think that's really cool, but it just feels very cheap and just, not good. And also the Indominus Rex sound is just stupid. Again, like, as much as I dislike the Indominus Rex, it sounds cool, but for the Cryolophosaurus, don't give it that. Just give it, like, a generic roar, and that'd be that. But anyway, I rambled on for way too long. Overall, the articulation, this is going to sound very, like, stupid and very just, like, unfair, but I feel like the articulation on this figure, I'd say gets a quarter of a pass. Because, like, the limbs feel good, but, like, the main gimmick of the figure feels cheap to me. And if, like, your main gimmick is not good, then I'm sorry, that's just bad design. So, honestly, I think the articulation here gets a quarter of a pass. Now I'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure is actually really nice. Just like with a lot of other Mattel figures, like, one thing that they do a great job on is typically the sculpts, and this figure is no exception. The sculpting here looks great. These fins here, I wasn't really the biggest fan of, and even the one here, I wasn't really the biggest fan of at first, but in person, it actually doesn't look too bad, so, yeah. Other than that, the sculpting on this figure is real good. Even the tail is a pretty decent length. Like, it still feels a little short, maybe it could be, like, up to there, but, like, it doesn't look awful. It's not as bad as other figures, so, yeah. And also, the feet might be a little too big, but it's Mattel at this point, so, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the sculpt. I actually really like the sculpting on this figure, so the sculpt gets a pass. Now I'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure is also not bad. So, all the detailing on the face here, all the little scales and bumps, and even the little cracks and crevices on the crest here looks very nice. Everything here looks very nicely defined. All the creasing and musculature in the neck there also looks really good. And even on the side of the body, like, you can see, like, the musculature on, like, the side of the body here, and even the scales up top. Everything here just looks very well defined. Very nice musculature in the arms as well. And the fingers don't look too bad as well. Again, really nice detailing. Like, the creasing and musculature just looks great. Typically, with a lot of Mattel figures, they do a pretty good job with the detailing. And yeah, nice creasing, nice musculature and everything here at the tail. There's a seam here. I don't really get what that's about, but whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the detailing on this figure. And the detailing on this figure is not bad. So the detailing on this figure, I'd say gets a pass. So at the end of the day, should you get this? Honestly, I'd say, well, it depends. If you're buying it for the sculpt and, like, you know, everything else, then I'd say it's not bad. But if you're buying this for the actual gimmick, I'd say give it a skip, because it feels cheap. It's just not great. And I might be, you know, being a little too hard on this figure, but if your main gimmick to me just doesn't work, then I'm sorry, then that kind of takes a lot of points away from me. But yeah, but overall, not a terrible figure, and for 14 bucks, you know, you could do a lot worse with that, but I'm just not a big fan of this figure. Just, like, the main gimmick, it just feels cheap, so unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say no. Which is a shame, too, because the sculpting and, like, detailing and all of that looks really nice, but it just feels cheap, and I'm not a big fan. So, again, this thing is 14 bucks, so if you do want it, there you go. So, yeah. Anyway, here it is next to Dr. Billy Grant. And the Cryolophosaurus here is actually way too big. The Cryolophosaurus in real life was actually about as tall as Dr. Billy Grant, so I feel like this would make more sense as an Attack Pack figure, but that's just me. And again, the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World franchise is not really known for being scientifically accurate, so I'm not really looking for accuracy here at all. I'm just saying, you know, yeah. So, yeah. Also, hand sanitizer. So, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.